And in today's video, I'm going to discuss the dangers that comes with questioning another person's patriotism and how that can affect all our First Amendment rights. But first, I want to play a video of our current president and his opinion on the matter. Here it is.
When somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a bitch off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Colin Kaepernick, who plays for the San Francisco 49ers, was asked why he did not stand for the national anthem. He said, quote, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the streets and people getting paid, leave, and getting away with murder." End quote. Kaepernick is referencing the staggering number of young black men who recently have been killed by police during routine traffic stops or during situations that would normally not call for the use of deadly weapons. He is also referencing several economic and social barriers that affect people of color on a daily basis, which leads him to believe that oppression is happening on a national scale, and he feels compelled to use his position and platform to bring awareness to these injustices in the form of protest. This, of course, opened the floodgates to everyone to offer their opinion in regards to Kaepernick's protest. Those on the left and right either supported or disliked his message. Those on the right insisted that not standing was disrespecting those who had served and died for our flag, and not standing for the national anthem meant that Kaepernick hated our country and he was labeled anti-American and unpatriotic. Those on the left supported his message and insisted that he was doing the right thing to bring awareness to an unjust system that uses race to justify acts that would normally be unacceptable if it were to happen to a white American. Even though I think both sides have arguments that are based in sincerity and concern, I could only concentrate on the bigger picture that I believe was being missed by our media sources. For me, the bigger question was, when is it appropriate to use your First Amendment right to protest? And should the American flag and national anthem be exempt from being included in that message? I was reminded of a Supreme Court case that is considered a landmark case that sets the standard for lawful expression of protest. In the case Texas v. Johnson, Lee Johnson burned an American flag outside the convention center where the 1984 Republican National Convention was being held in Texas. Johnson burned the flag to protest the policies of President Ronald Reagan. He was arrested and charged with violating a Texas statute that prevented the desecration of a venerated object, including the American flag, if such act were likely to incite anger in others. A Texas court tried and convicted Johnson. He appealed to the Supreme Court, arguing that his actions were symbolic speech protected by the First Amendment. The Supreme Court agreed to hear his case and ruled in his favor. Yes, I know Kaepernick did not do anything as extreme as burn the flag. Colin simply abstained to stand for the national anthem. Political pundits insisted he was being disrespectful to the flag and our service members. However, considering he took a respectful knee during the event and did not cause a blatant disruption during the national anthem that either inhibited its occurrence or caused a disturbance, I say he was in his legal right to do so. Not only was he in his legal right to do so, but he was exercising his First Amendment right that we all have to exercise if we feel the need to. Just because he has caused an upset of citizens does not mean he can legally be persecuted. It also does not mean he hates or even is anti-American. I would make the argument that protesting an injustice by abstaining to pledge or show acknowledgement of our nation's symbol is in essence very American. I say this because our forefathers set the precedent that freedom of speech should be held to such a high regard that an individual should have the right to air their grievances with the government. That and our Supreme Court has ruled that freedom of speech and speech involving symbolism in the form of burning the flag or even abstaining to stand during the national anthem is protected under our Constitution. Those who call him anti-American, those who say he hates America, or even say he is unpatriotic are actually in turn promoting a narrative that is anti-American. Because what is more American than protesting an injustice and having the freedom to do so? What these people are doing is creating an environment that seeks blind patriotism that fits in an arbitrary box of what it means to be American. Those that disagree are labeled and chastised while their love of country and patriotism is called into question. Bringing in our service members into the debate and using them to legitimize a reason that seeks to inhibit a type of protest or message is shameful. You are taking men and women who put their life on the line to protect our country and our freedoms listed in our Constitution, to use them as a means to inhibit others from exercising their right that these individuals fight and have died for. Their sacrifices were spent to ensure people are guaranteed these rights no matter if you agree with them or not. I want to show you how we should look at this issue by using a clip from our former president when he was asked about this matter.
Us honoring our flag and our anthem is part of what binds us together as a nation. I think that for me, for my family, for those who work in the White House, recognize also what it means to the men and women who are fighting on our behalf. But I'm also always trying to remind folks that part of what makes this country special, that we respect people's rights to have a different opinion, to make different decisions about how they want to express their concerns. And the test of our fidelity to our Constitution, to freedom of speech, to our Bill of Rights, is not when it's easy, but when it's hard.
We cannot pick and choose what message is appropriate for protest, whether we agree with it or not. We don't have to agree with every protest and their message, but to try and illegitimize protests because we don't agree with them only hurts our own First Amendment right. These are my thoughts. What do you think? Should this be re-examined, and should the American flag and other symbols of our nation be exempt from being used in protest? Write your answers in the comment box below. If you like anything I discuss, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I'll provide a link along with everything else I have talked about today in the description box below. I am Elena V, and remember, always leave things better than how you found it.